Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis, and you're watching Conversations in Pop Culture. And yes, I am hard to kill. And before I introduce my guest, I do want to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Pocket Jack Comics, who have books like Palace of the Golden Princess and White Lily. And you can find their books at pocketjackcomics.com. And I appreciate Preston Poulter, who does great work. And Palace is an absolutely beautiful book. And there's some interesting things in that book. That is all I'm going to say. And you should go pick it up because I think you will be pleasantly pleased and entertained nonetheless. But enough about that, because I have with me the great Tom Hutchison. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks. And Preston's done a couple of variants with us over the years too. So we know Preston and what he does. A couple of what's the dude's name? Whiskey Paint did a couple of covers for him / us.
Which one? So, where she's like holding the globe, right?
Yep. And Princesses versus Zombies was the first one that he did. Yeah.
So obviously, you know Preston, and I think Preston does business with you. I don't think that's a secret. And he does well with your books, I think, at cons. A lot of the Oz stuff fits in nicely with his, books. So, but this is not about Preston. This is not about Preston. I want to make that crystal clear. This is about your book and what you got going on Kickstarter, because you have a Critter book out, and it is a tribute book to some degree of Dirty Pair, which is an anime, and it's its 40th anniversary. And we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. But I figured I would allow you to introduce yourself. Not that you need the introduction, but there's some people who are going to be seeing this for the first time, hearing about you for the first time. And why don't you give the quick introduction of who you are and Big Dog Inc. before we get right into the good stuff.
So Tom Hutchison, I'm the writer, publisher, art director, basically all things Big Dog Inc. outside of doing the art and all that kind of stuff. This is our 15-year anniversary in 2025. So we've been doing this for a while. We've been published by a few other publishers. Aspen was our publisher for a while. Antarctic Press has been reprinting Critter since last year as well. So I've also done some work with Dynamite Comics on a book called Bad Kitty. And we're just kind of starting to get back into the swing of the year here. My mom passed in April. So the whole first quarter of the year just kind of went right out the door. We've been taking the last month or so to kind of restart everything. So this campaign wasn't even really meant to be a campaign. Basically we were doing this book, and so we made like a main cover, that we made like 150 of, but then we had 3 variants that we were just going to take to the cons, because we're going back into the cons. So we had one for C2E2. We're doing one for Motor City, which is in a couple of weeks. And then in 3 weeks, Traverse City at Cherry Capital Con up north, Michigan. We just had these variants that we were going to just take to the cons. But because we had pushed so much stuff back and some things just completely off the schedule altogether, I was like, well, why don't we just take these things and use it as sort of like a pre-order campaign for the people that aren't going to be able to get to these cons, because it's all Midwest cons. So that's what we did. We just threw that up there. We threw a bunch of back issues up there, some old Critter and Chloe stuff that I had. Obviously you can get some old Big Dog Inc. like trade paperbacks and things like that too. So it's a really, really low key campaign just to kind of remind people that, oh, we're back. We're doing a thing. It's only 11 days. So it ends on Sunday. It ends this coming Sunday. So you've only got like whatever that is, 5 or 6 days left. Ends on Sunday.
Let's talk about this a little bit, because obviously I'm sorry for your mother passing away. Rest in peace. But what is this like for you? Because it's almost like turning lemons into lemonade to some degree, and turning a situation that derailed you into a campaign, and a fun campaign, and doing something that's kind of cool, and trying to get back into the swing of things. Because I think it's really interesting, because when you get knocked down in life, and I'm using that term because I think it's the only term that comes to my head at the moment, and it's how you respond to adversity and a problem, and adjust, because I think that's where things are going in life in general. And I think comics go that way, and a lot of stuff has happened this year, collectively in comics. But obviously, what has this been like? Because I think it's really interesting, and I think it's such an interesting response, because I think a lot of creators, when they have an issue, They don't say, cool, let's get creative. Let's figure out how to do this. Because comic writers and creators are creative people. But like, does that make any sense?
Yeah, but you have to be. If you're in the creative world, that has to exist for all aspects of it. It can't just be, well, I'm creative in my art, I'm creative in my writing, I'm creating in my, like, no, you have to be creative, especially in the space that we exist in now, which is so just completely out of whack with, Diamond, and we don't know what's happening with them. And crowdfunding is sort of the starting point for everybody now. You have to be able to kind of move and tilt and pivot and change with things that are going on, because most of this stuff that happens, like with my mom, none of it's in your control. So you have to be able to just say, and this was what we did. I just said, look, when we found out she was sick in February, I was just like, well, everything stops. We still worked on the books behind the scenes, like the artists were still doing their work and stuff. But as far as like active promotion and like racing towards launching Penny for Your Soul in March, which was the plan, I was just like, no, everything stops. And so for a couple of months, like February, March, and then she passed in early April, February, March, everything was pretty much just off. And then even with April up, except for C2E2, that was the only thing that we did in April was C2E2. And then I just was kind of like, I don't know how to, I had to reschedule the whole year because there were things that I still knew I had to do. We had to get Penny for Your Soul out, this, but then I threw a bunch of stuff out. I said, you know what, that can just go till next year. It's not going to bother me. But I had to figure out a way to kind of start the engine again. My engine and just sort of the business engine. And the fact that we had this book already done made it really easy. So I just was like, well, let's just throw this out there. Plus it's a weird thing. It's not really like a normal thing that we do. It's a weird thing that I thought might grab some audience that we didn't normally would have with the Dirty Pair connection to the anime. And I was just like, let's just do a quick, really, honestly, I probably should have only done like a week. That's the reality. It should be ending tonight, but I let it just run because I really didn't know what to expect. So like I said, it ends on Sunday night. So you got plenty of time to get books. But yeah, that was it. It's just, you have to find a way to restart, whether it's internal creative or whether it's external, marketing and whatever else that it takes to kind of do all this.
Did you also feel
we did?
Did you also feel that this is sort of a low stakes start? So like you're kind of revving up. It's kind of like
very low stakes. Yeah. Because again, everything was done. The book's done, completely finished. So really low stakes. It was just really a matter of like, it's just a pre-order for people who aren't going to be at cons. And I think it went over well. The other thing though, is that I have seen people do that. I have seen other people doing Kickstarters for convention exclusives. Like they'll say, like, we're going to San Diego Comic-Con or whatever, and we're going to have these books. But for those of you that can't go, here's an advanced sales campaign and you can get it here. And then when the campaign's over or when the convention's over, we'll ship the books out to whoever bought them. So this isn't like I created something out of the blue here. There's precedent that other people have done with this. To help fund some of their variants, just to help fund their variants. So I kind of had a sense of like, we'll be fine. We'll probably max out around $5,000, which I think we're at like 45 or something right now. So we're well within that sort of, thought process that I had. Again, it helped us pay for the books a little bit faster than selling them at 3 different cons. So yeah, so it was a low stakes gamble, but again, it was done based on precedent from other people, and we've done so much kind of weird shit with Kickstarter, 24-hour things and 3 days, and like we've done so many different weird things. We did a 24-hour campaign in January, January 1st. We did a Nia Rufino special cover set for January 1st. That was it. And then it was gone. That did almost 8K in 24 hours for this one book. So, we're never against experimenting with ideas in time frame, in content, in how many covers are we doing? Can we
This is,
do this with
go ahead.
4? Do we need 8? Like what's the experiment? And then you just see what the result is, and you go, all right, that was a good result. Like maybe we can translate that to something in the future.
So I want to touch upon that and talk about that a little bit because I like experimenting. Obviously I play around with a lot of stuff. I play around with a lot of product. I buy stuff on eBay and then I'll touch upon a new product and then I'm like, oh shit, this did well. Like what the fuck? I didn't expect it. I thought I was gonna have an X rate of return and then I had an X plus 10, right? And I'm thrilled. And then I say, cool, why did it do this? And I think it's a good thing to experiment. And I mean, but also I've heard people say, and I hear, snide comments and people talking behind people's backs and say, why did that person do that? And that idea failed. And I think it's really complicated because I mean, the way I feel is that there's plenty of things that I've done that I've tried that have worked, and there's plenty of things that I haven't that I've done that haven't worked. And my thought process is that I'm going to try everything until I find the right thing.
Well,
And I think
here's the thing. Anybody who's backbiting because somebody tried something and it didn't work, they better sure come out on the other side, and when it does work, give that guy praise. But unfortunately, that's the world that we live in. Is no one cares when you succeed; they only care when you fail. And so like I said, we do a lot of experiments. Some have worked really well, some less so. But you have to try things in order to see what the alternatives might be, and it could be a good alternative. And you go, yes, let's do that again. Or it could be a completely closed door where you go, oh, that did not work at all. Let's move on from that idea. But if you're going to be a creative person, you cannot be stagnant in what you're doing. You can't just keep templating the same thing and expect any sort of opportunity for growth. Consistency is good. Like, hey, we're consistent. We're doing this thing consistent. But if you're making 10,000 per campaign or whatever number, and you're making 10 and you're making 10 and you're making 10 and you're making 10 and you're making 10, you're just there. You've become stagnant. You've been consistent, but you've become stagnant. You're not seeing any growth. So that's where some of these little, take little risks. I'm not talking about like jumping off of cliffs, but take small risks, do small tweaks to the campaign. What if this? What if this? See what the result is. Maybe you go from 10 to 11, maybe you go from 10 to 9 and you go, oh, nope, that didn't work. We'll go back to where we were. But you have to be creative. You have to be able to think outside of the normal box to really kind of make any sort of mark for yourself outside of just sort of the norm. Because there's a lot of people that create and they're just in the norms. This is what we expect. This is what we expect. This is what we expect. And I'm in that to some degree as well. I'm sort of in this thing where it's like, even myself, I'm like, this is what I expect that we'll do. And pretty much that's what we do, which tells me that I'm not pushing the product hard enough. I'm not pushing the marketing hard enough. I'm not pushing myself hard enough in sort of conceptualization of things. So this isn't to say that I've got all the answers here, guys, but I'm just saying that I can look at other people and be like, what's that guy doing? That's interesting. But that doesn't mean I have to do it, but I can be like, that's interesting. I'm curious as to what that result will be. But creative nature is for everything, every part of your business. And anybody who's sitting there going, laughing or being like, what a dumb show. Why did he do that? Like, somebody took a chance, and no one should be ridiculed for taking a chance in particularly in any sort of a creative, environment. Everything creative is taking a chance. Every line you write, every piece of dialogue, every artist that you hire, every ounce of it is taking a chance or risk that it will connect with the fan base at some point, down the line. So everything's a risk, some more so than others, but everything's a risk. So
no, I don't disagree. And it's, but I also understand the other side of this where it's terrifying, and nobody wants to be ridiculed, nobody wants to be attacked, and nobody wants to be like, fall flat on your face. And I've been in all
sure,
of
but
that.
that fear, that is the fear that will keep you from succeeding. That's
Well,
the
it's taken
reality.
me a long time to get over that fear. It's
Yeah,
taken me like 10 years because it's terrifying and you just
sure,
don't want to be like that guy. And then
of
you
course.
get to a point where I just say, fuck it. I don't give a shit what you think of me. And it's wonderful when you get there because
That's it.
guess what? I'm going to fail statistically. I'm going
Yeah,
to fail more times than I succeed. But at the same time, you know what is? I've been on this side of it where a lot of people are talking a lot of stuff. And I'm like, I took an idea and it didn't work. So what?
yeah,
Life
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
Deal with it.
absolutely. I mean,
But
even all my books, all the stuff that we do, there's a hierarchy of like this one succeeds more than this one. I mean, it's just reality. That's just what it is. But again, it's a creative world. If you're not taking risks with your creativity, you're even if you are successful, you may not be reaching your peaks within it if you're not taking some chances and risks and just don't even say chances and risks. Experimentation. Creativity is not risk. Creativity is experimentation. Creativity is I'm going to do this way this time, and I'm going to see what it is. It's not really a risk. The risk is the only risk that we have is okay. I'm hiring this artist. Is he going to connect with my fan base? That's a risk because some of these guys might cost you an arm and a leg and be like, oh man, this guy's really expensive, but I really like his art. But does that mean that the fans will like the art? That's a risk. But experimentation in like how you do campaigns, Kickstarters, crowdfunding, whatever, how you set up a booth at a con, like that's the stuff that can set you apart instantly if it works right.
I'll throw another thing out there. Experimentation with customer service. How far do you go? How involved are you? All that stuff is a big thing. One of the things that I learned, and I don't know if how relevant this is, particularly on Kickstarter or even how you pack up your books to some degree, is that
Sure.
I ask my customers, "Hey, what did you like? How I packed up your card? Did you want more bubble wrap? Do you want less bubble wrap? Do you want a piece of scotch tape over your card or not?" On how it is. And all of a sudden, when I'm getting that feedback and I now ask and I actually send a bunch of my customers a survey, it has actually made me better. And I was experimenting on what to even ask
Sure.
with
Yeah.
those
It's
questions. And I got a lot of feedback that improved my business.
yeah,
And
there was a time we were using like regular packing tape to like wrap the comic to the cardboard for shipping. Um, and then over time, somebody started asking like, "Hey, why aren't you using painter's tape? Like that blue stuff because it peels off a little easier." And I was like, I don't like that because I'm afraid that because it comes off easier, it's going to have more opportunity to move, in the thing. Um, so I understood what they were saying. It was more difficult to get the tape off. But eventually I just tried it. I was like, okay, let me switch to this painter tape stuff and see how it works. And it worked fine. I didn't really have any problems beyond what I was doing with the regular tape. So I said, okay. So yeah, our shipping has modified over the years on how we do things. And um, you need to listen to your customers, if not so much if they have a complaint, but even if they just have a suggestion, like, hey man, you could probably do it this way and it would work really well. Oh, okay, I didn't really think about that. So yeah, all of our shipping has kind of leveled up over the last even year, as I've learned some things about you know boxes, different types of boxes, and different shipping styles, like as far as like first class or priority or whatever. You got to learn all that. Unfortunately, in the business world of this stuff, there's the creative side, but there's also like the how do you really do it side, and stuff like shipping and that kind of thing comes into play. And I see all the time on Facebook, people are on Facebook groups and they're like, oh my God, I ordered this comic off of eBay and it just showed up in an envelope without even a bag and board and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like that's insane that people still don't even have the most bare bones comprehension of how do I ship a comic book to somebody. But that's the reality. And so if you can be better than them, you're already one step ahead of the guys that are mucking it up.
oh yeah, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I've seen people order PSA cards, graded cards in that realm because that's more of the space I'm in right now. And oh my God, it is horrific. I've seen comics run over by a car and I have like a tire track on it, and the book was perfect because it was packed correctly, which was
Yeah, because you've got enough cardboard in there. Yeah.
it was insane. And like the person opened it up, and this face was great. It was great. It was great. The whole thing was fantastic.
Yeah, I have had guys show me, like, send me pictures, and they're like, "Oh my god," and I see the picture of the box, and it's like soaking wet, like it was left on a porch in the rain, and it's just like soaking wet, and they're like, "Oh my god, dude, I don't know what's gonna happen," and I'm like, "Don't worry, you're fine. There's enough like plastic wrap in there and whatever. You're fine. Don't worry." And then he'll open it up and he'll be like, "Oh, it's so good. You did such a great job with this." So yeah, there's a learning curve. There's a learning curve. No one's going to do it right the first time, but you got to do it right by time 5.
Oh, so you get 5 chances. So you get 5 chances here.
Well, here, because if you send out 5 packages, there's a chance that even if you do it poorly, that 50% of them might make it. But by that 5th time, you should have enough, like this one made it and these 4 didn't, to know, okay, there's a problem. Let me fix what I'm doing. So yeah.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad we established that you get 5 times.
Yeah, you get 5. You get 5. Now, if you fuck up, you might not get those customers back within those 5. But yeah, you got to learn. The point is, you got to learn by 5 what you're doing wrong.
Fair enough. But I now that we got through that, I do want to get a little bit into the book, because I think the book's interesting. And my fun point about the book is two things that I think are interesting. Obviously, I'm an anime guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love anime. I love pop culture. I do know Dirty Pair. It's not a long anime. It's really not. It's a good one though.
It's not super long, but there are different versions of it. There was like a TV show for a while. It became some movies. It got remade as Dirty Pair Flash. So there's different versions of it. And then, of course, there's the Adam Warren comics that he was doing. He was adapting this thing like in 87 or 88. He started adapting it with Dark Horse, or not Dark Horse. It was like Eternity or something initially. And then it became Dark Horse. So there's a lot of Dirty Pair stuff out there, but it's not like some of these animes that have like, hundreds of episodes for them. So it's a pretty easy thing to digest.
It's an old school anime.
Oh, it's 1980s, man. It's 1985. It's prime anime. This is 85 is when, the anime stuff started coming over a lot. The VHS market was gigantic, and, things just started coming, and Dirty Pair was one of those things. So, ADV was doing some of it. I don't know that it's ever been completely adapted, like in English, dubbed. I know they did a bunch of like the later sort of movie things, ADV, but the original series I don't think has ever been dubbed. So, but you can, if you are curious, you can watch it on Pluto. Pluto TV has the original anime TV show. It's all subtitled, so you got to be prepared for subtitles. But if you want to see it, it is there.
There's only one way how to watch anime, and it's just subtitles, everybody. I'm sorry. This separates the fans from
well, I only agree in the context of voice acting is terrible. It's one of the things that I cannot stand. Modern voice acting. Old voice acting, there's a lot of really good voice actors that did stuff back in the day. But modern voice acting, I cannot listen to these people talk. It's the worst. It's the worst.
You just like insulted like 25% of my interviews.
I'm sorry. I can't deal with it. I'm sure that there are exceptions to the rule, but every time I seem to turn something on, I just am like, this sounds really weird. I don't know what it is. It sounds weird to me. It's not landing. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I have no specific,
I might have the answer. It could be that it's the second part of the description of the job, where acting is the second part and voice. And it could very well be that if you're listening to somebody who's 50 years old and they've been voicing a character for 30 years, they have a different, I guess, upbringing to some degree. They have a different way they've done this. They've also been when this was coming over in like the 1995s and when Funimation was happening. Sure. And so when you have somebody who's 50 years old or 45 and they've been doing this for 25, 30 years, and then you have a young kid come in who's 24 not saying that they didn't go to school for this or they're not acting, but they might not have the chops to do it, or they might have had a different, you know, education in this whole system.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, there's definitely people that are better than others. There's no question about that. But just largely, whenever I watch anime stuff, I'm like, it just doesn't. I don't know what it is. There's something just about the way that it's coming across to me that I just can't. I can't do it. So I'm happy to do subtitles. It doesn't bother me. I'm a Godzilla fan. I've been reading subtitles my whole life. So that doesn't bug me at all. So yeah.
I watch most of the anime I watch, and the reason I watch it in subtitles is that it didn't come over to America yet.
Sure.
So what Crunchyroll does is that it airs in Japan, and within an hour or two, it is subtitled, and so I can watch it like 2 hours after it has come and aired in Japan, and I want to watch a lot of anime. And so I'm so used to it now of watching subtitles that when I turn on Crunchyroll and it's dubbed, I'm like, what the fuck? This is like a treat. Like, and it sounds funny the way I say it, but I'm so used to, because 90% of the anime I watch is subtitled. And it's new anime, but I'm like, and I'm just used to it, and it doesn't affect me. At first, when I came to Crunchyroll like 10 years ago, I'm like, subtitles, oh man, this is gonna suck. But now I'm like, cool, this works for me, and I like it that way because it's just easier. But again,
I like dubs just because I don't have to be watching, like, keyed into it. You know what I mean? I can get up and go to the kitchen and I can still hear what's happening. You know what I mean? So there is the advantage to, the dub, but yeah.
But
Most of what I watch for anime is old stuff anyway. I really don't get into much new anime stuff. I've tried a few things. It's very few things have connected to me in the last, I don't know, let's say 20 years at least. But the stuff that I grew up with, and listen, I can tell you that the stuff that I grew up with is not perfect either. Like, even stuff that I love, like Robotech and whatever, there's weird voices in there. There's stuff that you're like, oh, that didn't work.
I love Robotech.
But Robotech, Robotech and Battle of the Planets had a great cast. There was stuff that I came up with, and then obviously, like we just talked about, some of the Dirty Pair stuff and things that started coming over, like Akira and whatever. Stuff just came over, and we got this version of it. It's like, this is fine, but I'm not big onto the modern anime stuff.
Oh, I love Robotech. Robotech's great.
That's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I have my official opinion is that New Generation is actually better than Macross as a whole, as an entire thing. And the primary reason for that I discovered because I just recently did a binge of it, like last year sometime. I was like, I haven't seen this in a long time. Let me watch all this again. Macross is great up until the final battle. Right? Not the final battle, but like the final battle, the big battle. It's like, this is really freaking good.
Like episode 24, right?
It's battle him when they go into the big battle. That's really freaking good. And then, like, the SDF-1 lands back on Earth, right? And then you're going on. The next portion of that story to get to the end is not good. It's so dull. It's the Zentradi are like, oh no, this place sucks. Like, they're just, this is terrible. This is awful. All of this is awful until you get again into that, the final part of it. So because of that, and then watching New Generation is tight. It is just like, we are here, and we are done. It is like compact, really, really well done. And it doesn't really have much in the way of like weird filler episodes of any kind. So I am definitely of the opinion that New Generation is the best of it. But if you were to eliminate that, like, sort of like let's say Macross ended at Battle Hymn, boom, that's just the end of it. Macross hands down, easily. But because it kind of limps to the end, Macross doesn't, or New Generation doesn't.
See, I enjoyed New Generation, in which the New Generation was fun because I watched all. I bought the whole box of Macross. So I watched Macross. What was it, like, Southern Cross? And Southern Cross was just that's a tough one. which
Southern Cross is tough. Southern Cross is tough. Yeah, very tough.
I appreciate what they were trying to do, but like it just didn't work, right? But I like how they tried to connect pieces to it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate.
Conceptually, it was fine. It was just the execution didn't land.
Yeah, it didn't. But like Scott Bernard and all that stuff, that was cool.
Mhm.
And then the whole Invid thing, I thought was great. And then
Yep.
the movie, I thought was pretty good too. Like the Shadows thing, I enjoyed that a lot because I like the
Well,
fact that
there is Robotech the movie.
oh no, not that one. The
Yeah,
have you
that's
seen
that's
Robotech?
another hard watch. That's a
But
really hard watch. But then there's the Shadow Chronicles, which is what you're talking about.
yes,
Yeah.
the Shadow Chronicles because
Which I like. I really don't have a problem with it. I like Shadow Chronicles. I again, I understand why people don't like it. I understand their idiosyncrasies with it, but I think it's fine for what it is. I would have liked to have had a little bit of a follow up to it. Maybe that would have sort of made it a little better, but I thought it was fine.
So there you go.
And then Robotech 2, like those couple of little episodes that they did, the Sentinels. I thought those were cool.
Yeah, because that was like Jonathan Wolf, and that was like the Lin May stuff, and like all that.
That's where they really tried to connect the two, the two pieces.
And Jonathan Wolf was in New Generations. That was cool.
Mhm.
I mean, I could run Robotech for everybody. You should. But again, I like the box because and we still don't know what protoculture is. We still don't know.
No, nobody knows. Nobody knows what protoculture is. Stop worrying about it.
It's terrible. It's just terrible. No, because like across and that whole Robotech stuff was kind of like the first thing because I won a free copy of Shadow Chronicles, from Harmony Gold, and then I bought the whole box. And I'm like, this movie was fun.
Some of us were watching it when it was on every day after school, Andrew. Some of us were racing home up the hill after the bus was too slow to fucking watch Robotech, Silverhawks, Voltron. Like some of us are OG.
I go back to Astro Boy, but I didn't. I mean, I'm 32, so it's understandable.
Yeah, but you weren't watching it when it was first running on American TV. Astro Boy, you weren't alive when it was first running.
Exactly. See, so I can't really be at fault here, can I? I have a reasonable excuse. But I did go back. I enjoy Go Line and Voltron.
Mm-hmm.
Go Line is good, and so is Voltron. I thoroughly enjoy Voltron in a lot of ways.
It's a very it doesn't really hold up. It's very cliche. It's very monster of the week. But it's fun. It's just sort of it's dumb fun versus like hard continuity like Robotech is and that kind of stuff. So, it's fine.
Again,
the designs are all cool, it's fine.
Yeah, and then I bought my Lego Voltron. That was fun to build. So what can I say? It's awesome. But going back to your comment, because that's the thing too, is that I wouldn't have backed your campaign if it wasn't a tribute to Dirty Pair. Because I'm an anime fan, and I like one cover that I think really captures that anime vibe. But I think that's what's interesting too, is that you're going to potentially catch people, whether it's at a con or on Kickstarter, with this this is related and is a tribute to Dirty Pair. Because there's people who like anime, there's people who like that, and then there's like the OGs, and that's what's cool about this too. In some ways, is that there's an audience that doesn't exist that now it could be interested that might not know who Big Dog Inc. is.
Critter has always had a anime crossover. Always anime. If you like anime, you like Critter. That's just what it is. It's always had that. That's why we made the toy Critter first, because I had a sense that we could sell it to Big Dog fans, toy fans, and specifically anime cat girl fans. I figured we'd have an immediate three-pronged attack for the selling of the toy, which we did. It was great. So she was a perfect character to put into this little weird mold, because she's already got the anime, little connection to begin with. So
because I think it's smart, right? Because again, there's people who obviously like this stuff, and when it's like, oh, cool, people who they may not know the 85 Dirty Pair or the 87 Dirty Pair, but they have some semblance of it. If you're an anime fan and you're an old school anime fan, you have a semblance of
an awareness of it. Yeah, for sure.
And you're like, cool, this is related to that. And now, cool, it could be an introduction point, or it could be just cool. I see this at a con, and now, cool, what's Big Dog Inc? Because
Mhm.
it's a conversation starter, and that's a good thing. And that's what I think is also fascinating. And again, we go back to taking low risks. You doing a tribute to this is a very low risk on a creative side.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously, hiring an artist, spending money, printing the books, those risks are regardless of any comic you publish. Those risks always exist. But you're saying, cool, I'm going to connect it to a 40-year anniversary, low risk on a creative level.
Yeah, especially since we've done these types of things before. We've done tribute covers, and we did the Showgirls pinup book, for the 25th anniversary of Showgirls. So we have a history and a precedent of doing these types of things. And our fans react to them. They respond to them. Like I said, this thing's almost got 100 backers and $4,500, and it's the small. There's 4 covers. I mean, that's it. There's 4 covers. So it's not some big monstrous thing, but it shows that you can kind of do simple things, still make some money, and help you out with your production costs, and get the book out to fans.
Yeah, because to even talk about that too, because there's not a lot of these covers being printed. It's not a mass.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Also, what I like is that, and I think there's more technically, but you only limited, I think, all 4 of these covers to 85 a piece.
The main cover is 150, and then the others are all 85. Yeah, we did 85 because it's 1985, so we decided to do 85 copies. Yeah.
Because I like that too, because it's this idea where we're getting a short story, and we're getting, it's almost a collectible, and it's super limited, because once you're out of those 85, I mean, you're out of those.
It won't take long. It won't take long. Yeah, especially with the Kickstarter, it won't take long. They'll all be gone.
Because I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but when I back a campaign, I like to know that a book is limited on a variant, right?
Sure.
I like to know, because it's not even so much value as much as it is, I just want to be part of a club, and I want to be part of an exclusive thing, and I want to feel like, hey, I'm supporting your book and you.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to be printing 10,000 of these.
Right. That is where sort of the price point comes in, and the value of it. Like if you're spending $25 on something, you don't want them to just keep printing it for the rest of their lives. You want to know it has a finite number. Whatever the number is, then you can make, your own conscious purchasing decision of like, okay, there's 200 of these. I'm comfortable spending $20, whatever it is. But if they're just like, here's the thing, and then you just see it like for eternity being reprinted and reprinted and reprinted and reprinted, then you're asking yourself, well, was it worth my $20 if there's now 5,000 of them in existence, versus, like, for us, generally speaking, when we do these campaigns, most of our stuff is like limited to 100 copies. And then less, 100 and less. Now our main cover, like I said, in this case is 150 copies. But when we do our bigger books, like Penny for Your Soul, when we do that in June, we're going to make like 400 of those. So even in 400, that's still not very many books. But we make enough of them because we know we need to continue to sell them until we get to a trade paperback point. We can collect it up, all that kind of stuff. But we need to make sure that people at cons that don't know who we are, that are just getting into the series, we need to know that we have them for a period of time. And then once they're gone, it's like, okay, they're gone. Collect that up, put it in a trade paperback. We don't reprint them. And then we just get like the big trade paperback books, like, Marvel and DC and everybody do.
No, because again, I obviously, and the book that I picked up, I'm sure you could look it up, but I'll tell everybody when I start showing covers. But like, I just like the art style, but I like the fact that there's only 85 copies of it too, because I know there's 84 other people who are going to have this book, and then that's it, right?
That's right. That's right.
So it just makes me feel like, cool. I feel like I'm one of 85 people in the world who has something. And I'm not looking to resell the book or anything. It's not like that. But I just feel like, cool, I know it's exclusive. And
well, you're a collector, and there are collectors and there's flippers, and some people truly collect and they just want it in their collection. I'm a collector. I got all kinds of stuff. I was just at Dan Mendoza's Still IlCon this weekend. So, I picked up a bunch of stuff from those guys. I'm a collector myself. I know what I like, and I've got a lot of boxes of my own stuff.
So again, I'm a flipper too, in which that I buy and sell stuff to boost my own collection, and it's a nice little side hustle. So I'm both, but there's stuff that I'm not interested in selling, in which that I just like art and I like really cool things, and I like things that just when I look at it, just makes me smile. And because if I wake up and I have original pieces of art and I have one-on-one stuff that's drawn for me, and whenever I look at it, I just smile. And anytime something can make me smile, it's worth every penny I paid for it.
Yeah.
Every penny, because life is hard. And and I'm not going to go into the whole speech about it, guys, but life is hard. So anytime
Yeah,
something
and
makes,
I think we did 4 really good covers for this. I think they're all good in their own way. They all have their own vibe to them, but they all fit the book. They all are great art. They all are by great artists. Um, and because each one is really polar opposite, like none of them are just like pinups. You know, you get so many covers that are just like, hey, here's a girl standing here. None of them are just like pure pinups. So each one is a little different from each other, which I think makes it even better.
so let's talk about those covers. So I believe this is the main cover.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
Yep.
150. And so obviously we have Critter and Chloe on it.
That's it.
And
Yeah. Wanted to do I found a Dirty Pair like marketing. It was like that's all I can say. It was some sort of a marketing thing, and it had them sort of in this pose, and I was like, oh, that's like super anime style marketing. So I was like, Chow Mahato does the book and the interiors. I was like, we want that. Give me that. And so he did a great job.
so that's 150 copies. And then we have this right here, which
Yep.
is
So this is the Danger Girl homage. So we have Critter, we have Chloe, we have Dirty Pair, and then this is a loose homage to J. Scott Campbell's Danger Girl book that he did. This was a chromium cover that he did many years ago, where they're wearing like these silver dresses, like very mod, very like old Austin Powers type of stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to tap into that 100%. So the artist here is Isanetto Adamar and Elenia DiNapoli, who does so much coloring work for us. So this came out really great. For those that are interested, we did do a limited edition holofoil of this. There are 15 of them in existence. I have a couple left. We took them to C2E2. I have a couple left. So if anyone wants one, you can bug me and we can talk about getting you one. But yeah, that came out really good.
And then we got this one.
Then this one also is an homage to the old Adam Hughes Dirty Pair cover, which is in it of itself an homage to an old Dade Stevens cover from way back in the day. And this is Pedro Perez. I love Pedro's animated style. I was like, dude, 100%. I need you on this. He did a great job. Critter and Chloe doing the space rocket thing. Yeah, this came out great. I love this cover.
And then this is the cover that I picked up because this is like anime, chibi, kind of that whole vibe. I love the colors on it. I mean, it's like
the whole thing. Yeah, this was sort of a tribute to like some of their home video style stuff that they were doing. And I just loved all the dynamic of it. And so Bun Leung is the king of chibis, and he does all of our chibi stuff. And I said, dude, I need Dirty Pair chibis with Critter and Chloe, and I need it in this sort of design, and he was all over it. So he did a great job.
So this is just anime. It screams anime from the color to everything else with it, and it's just that vibe, and that's why I backed this campaign, because I'm like, this is an awesome cover, and it's one of my favorite covers that you've ever produced.
Yep.
It just screams fun. That's what it screams. Like, you just put that just right on the table, and it screams fun.
Yeah, and that's what the book is. I mean, the book is just nonsense fun. It's again, it's a tribute to the overall Dirty Pair. It taps into some specific stuff that Adam Warren did in the comics. So there's little bits of like, hey, thanks Adam for that. And then it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's a lot like the camp crossover stuff that we do when we do our summer camp crossovers. It's just nonsense. It's just totally pure for fun. Let's put characters in a weird situation that they don't normally have a part in, and just see what happens. This book got one of the guys that bought it at C2E2. He did a review of it like right away, and he was all about it. He loved it. He was great, and he didn't want to like spoil it, but he was dropping things like when you find out the reason that they're stuck in this room, it's just hysterical, stuff like that. So I was like, cool, people really bought in on it, and that's always fun, because sometimes you never know what you're going to get with some of these really specific types of things. Is it gonna, like, people are gonna be like, okay, that was fine, but he loved it. That dude loved the book. And I have a sense that people that love Dirty Pair and anime, they will love the book, because I think they will get sort of all of the shtick that's in it. And those that are just sort of like casual fans will kind of be like, oh, that was fun, okay, and that'll kind of be the end of it. So I think we're going to have a kind of a couple of different levels for that kind of stuff.
So to dive into that a little bit, because I am curious, because I want to read comics and I want to be distracted. It's the same reason why I like to watch animes that are silly, enjoyable, kind of, low stakes, and maybe a little ecchi, and make, jokes, and are fun, because I'm trying to relax and escape. And I think sometimes, and this is my experience in comics in the last few years, especially on Kickstarter, is that, and I would say that it's like 75-25%, that there's people who do fun books that are ridiculous, and I open up their books and I'm enjoying it, and it's the type of thing that I'm legitly grabbing a beer or two and reading, and it's to relax on my Friday night. And then 75% of the time, people are trying to write this intense story, and it's like the story's a little too heavy for me. It's like I'm trying to escape problems, not have more problems in me. And I think that there's a place for both, but like I want to escape and be distracted. And I don't want you to, like, I don't want to be thought provoked to death, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be mean here. Like I'm genuinely trying.
Some people try a little too hard to push the message, whatever the message is. Some people try a little too hard in that regard. I think there's ways to be very organic in your storytelling and get your point across while still existing in sort of a fun environment. Not everything has to be that way. Some things are, they need to be what they are, because that's the whole point of the book. A lot of stuff that's based in real world stuff, it kind of has to be that. But when you're dealing with fantasy and fiction and stuff, I think there's ways that you can be organic about messaging in the story and still have a good time. So, but then there's others that are just total nonsense. I mean, just absolute nonsense. There's no rhyme or reason for it to necessarily exist other than to just give you a smile for a handful of minutes. And in some cases, that's all people need, all people want. Other people do want a little more story going on than just, the cheesecake stuff that's happening. So, but that's why there's so much creative people doing so many different things, because there's so many different people that want so many different things. So
yeah, fair enough. I mean, my favorite book of all times is this book called Axe Cop. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. The ridiculous 101 is Axe Cop. Yeah.
I discovered it on Free Comic Book Day, and I'm in college, and then I'm getting intoxicated with all my friends that Saturday night. I decided to open up Axe Cop.
Well, alcohol helps that book a lot.
And we're just passing it around, and we're all just cracking up with laughter, because we're like, this is ridiculous. Avocado Man is his assistant. They found a map to where the bad guys are. Like, oh, the thing was great, because we all got the joke of Axe Cop on a very different level, because we knew it was so ridiculous and totally stupid, right?
Well, it was written by an 8-year-old. And you know the story, right? It's written by an 8-year-old and his brother.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. And the 8-year-old basically writes stuff like this. Axe Cop walks into the alley, and then a werewolf jumps out, and then a ninja jumps out, and then a refrigerator falls on the werewolf, and then like that's how he wrote this stuff basically. And then his brother would take it and kind of try and clean it up a little bit and make it coherent and cohesive, but it's so random and then it's basically an improv comic book. Well, not even the comic, but like everything, because it was a cartoon and it was originally a comic that these guys were making by themselves. I want to say it was maybe on like a web comic or something. Is how it got discovered.
It was a web comic.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and so it was, but it was just an improv. It's like, and then the aliens show up, and then, and so and then it became this thing for a while. This moment in time, this crazy IP that hung around for 4 or 5 years and then disappeared.
But it's my favorite thing because it's so ridiculous and it's so random. It's so like fuckery. I'm like on tap. Like that's the only way I can describe Axe Cop is that it's fuckery on tap, and it's great because I could just read it and I'm getting completely hammered. And me and my friends are just passing it around in college while we're like getting fucked up. And it like that's my experience with Axe Cop. And then the next day we're like, yo, do you have any more copies of that? It was great. And it became like the running joke every Friday and Saturday night for the whole semester because it was ridiculous. And it's like my favorite book of all time because it's just so ridiculous and so stupid that every time I read it, I just laugh.
You should read Battle Pope by Robert Kirkman.
I've read parts of Battle Pope. You
got to read some Battle Pope. That's out there. That stuff's out there for sure. Yeah. It's not quite as random as Axe Cop, but that's a journey. That's a journey.
But like that's my point is that like that's what I, like again, I don't know what the message of Axe Cop is, but
there's no message. There's no message. None whatsoever. And to some degree that's what you're going to get in this book, this Critter and Chloe book. It's nonsense. But it's based on the nonsense that came before it. It came from the Dirty Pair anime that I watched. It came from Adam Warren's Dirty Pair, and then just general sort of sci-fi stuff. But comedy is something that I've struggled with writing, and so part of my writer's journey has been to kind of try to write that stuff. And that's where all the camp crossover stuff has come into play, because it's allowed me to kind of bounce into a genre that I don't have to worry about continuity, right? I don't have to worry about like what happened last issue. Let me make sure that things are tight. Like it's just, nope, we're at the lake and we're water skiing. Nope, we're at the video game arcade and we're doing this. Nope, we're having a pillow fight. We're here. It's just, so it's helped me kind of break through some of the stuff that I've always struggled with as far as comedy goes. And then this one is no different. This is just like camp crossover stuff. It's just nonsense, just fun. But again, I think anyone who knows the Dirty Pair will kind of get an extra level to the jokes. But there's nothing in there that you won't understand from a storytelling standpoint. You're not going to be like, I don't get it. Like what's the gag? Everything is laid out, but there's extra levels if you know Dirty Pair stuff.
So you mentioned something that I think is interesting too, is that this is a Critter story versus Critter continuity per person.
Oh yeah, no, this is a completely external, thing. Yeah, this is not a continuity-based thing.
I like, I view it like, and I call it a side quest, right? So sometimes in an anime, they'll like just like Naruto does this well enough where they have an anime movie that sort of fits in somewhere where it's a mission, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not really part of the story. Most of the Naruto movies are not canon, but it's like, okay, cool. They're going on a mission to a foreign land and it's a unique team and it's great. It's how are these ninjas going to deal with the problem? Or One Piece does it really well too, where it's cool. They're just on an island and we have an hour and a half, 2 hour movie. We know all the characters are acting as they're supposed to in the regular show, but what takes place in the movie isn't canon, but we still get stuff.
This would be like if so assume that Critter is Critter, like in the comic books, but then they got hired to like make a movie, and Critter and Chloe made this Critter and Chloe movie. Think of it like in that regard. There's no connection to the main Critter stuff whatsoever, other than the fact that she just exists, and we know who she is, and we know who Chloe is. Chloe's Blue Jay, of course, from our stuff. That's her superhero persona. But Critter and Chloe sounds way better than Critter and Blue Jay. So Critter and Chloe it was.
No, because I like just the fact that it's just a story with them, and we're just seeing what the hell happens, and it's kind of nice where it's like that. Cool. We just get another story. We get 8 pages of this. We get 10 pages of this, whatever it is, and then cool. The story has a middle, beginning, end. And we just get this side of that story, and then it's done. It's kind of like a one shot here, there, and this, but then you have your main line. But if you want more Critter stuff, great. This is here for you. But let's say you don't care about the side stuff and you just want regular Critter. There you go too.
Yeah, you're not required to. This isn't a requirement to read to understand the series at all. This is just bonus content.
It enhances, but it doesn't detract.
Correct.
Because I like that, because again, when I like something, I don't know how you are. When I like something, I want more of it, and I want everything to touch upon it, whether it's canon or not. Because I just like a particular character or a particular superhero or a particular anime character, and I want everything with them. Whether it's canon or not, I just want to be involved in watching more of this character and situation. So that's why I like this book and like what you're doing, because I think it's smart. Because there's people like me who are like that.
Yeah, for sure. People want more of what they like, and Critter has a history of alternate versions already, anyway. But in this case, it's not really an alternate version; it's just her in a different setting. But it was fun to do. It was fun to do, and I mean, I knocked it out really fast. It was one of the fastest 8 pages I've ever written. It really just was like there. As soon as I kind of had the idea, I was like, okay, and what are they going to do? That, yep. How do I make that work? Yep. How do I finish this off? Yep. Go. And then it was done, and off to the artist. So it flowed.
I know that feeling. But I don't want to press too much harder on this, because I do want to back out. But obviously, there's only 4, I think, issues you could choose from. I think you could pick up
there's 4 new covers for the book. And then if you are new to Critter, Big Dog Inc. in general, there's some back issues that you can get for Critter and Chloe, just to kind of get a taste of some of the other stuff. And then again, if you're new to Big Dog Inc., there's a section of like trade paperbacks and single issues and stuff that you can try some of the other series in what we do. So, but if you're just here for the new stuff, there's 4 covers. It's super simple.
And then obviously, I mean, you could pretty much get anything else you want. And then obviously your website and other stuff. But I'm going to give you a chance to promote in a second here, because I do want to talk about some other stuff, because you always have wisdom. And I think your wisdom is spot on most of the time. And I'm always curious what you think of comics and where things are going, because there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in this year. Obviously, we have tariffs in play to some degree. I'm not exactly sure how that affects printing per se. We got the diamond.
Nothing. Doesn't affect printing.
I don't know if it does.
It doesn't. I'm telling you, it doesn't affect printing.
Perfect. There we go.
Yeah, see, doesn't affect printing. Well, more specifically, doesn't affect book printing. I don't know how it affects like newspapers or magazines or things like that. But in the context of what we do in the comic book world, I mean, there might be a little bit, but we're hearing like 100% tariffs and stuff like that. We're looking at like 8% differences. Like it's really minuscule. At least at this point. At this point, that's what we're hearing. Yeah.
There's a reason why I asked these questions, because I don't know, because
well, I mean, in fairness, we were all freaking out. We didn't know until we got to the point where printer in China, like what tell me what we're doing. And they were like, oh no, we're fine. There's no, I even heard somebody bought a guitar from Japan and there were no tariffs on it. So like, I don't know what exactly is happening from a tariff standpoint, but at least as far as like printing comic books and trade paperbacks and stuff, it's very, very minimal.
Good, fair enough, fair enough. I
Yeah.
didn't know, so that's why I
Yeah.
asked. But
Yeah.
obviously we have that, and then obviously the whole Diamond thing going on, and then the bankruptcy, and then I don't again.
Diamond is Diamond is still a toss up. No one really knows what that's going to be. For now, it'll be basically business as usual. But as the new owners sort of see what that is, they'll start to make their changes, whatever they're going to be. But until they start making changes, nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's all just pie in the sky at this point. But it is bought. It is sold. Somebody does own it. It's owned by I think Universal, and the guys that that company owns the NECA toy brand. So those guys own that stuff. At least that's the way that I understand it. So now we just got to see what their plan is for doing things better. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, like how do we do this better for the stores, for the companies, for whoever else. And I don't know what their plan's going to be. So that's just a big wait and see at this point. But they are purchased, so they're not gone. Like we know that Diamond exists and will continue to exist for at least the foreseeable future.
Again, I don't really have any comments because it doesn't affect me for as far as I buy things. I mean, as long as my store has what I want, that's the only way it affects me, right? I mean, I'm not producing anything or sending anything to Dime to get printed, so But at the same time, I'm well aware that it does have an effect on me, just not directly.
Yeah. It long term it can, but it's just right now it's just a matter of what is it that they're going to decide to want to do to change or not change whatever it is that's going on.
And then I'm always curious what you think of just where comps are going in general, like crowdfunding, because I have my opinions, and the market is massively oversaturated, and everybody and their uncle has a comic at this point. And
it's not oversaturated at all. It's very normal right now. Very normal. In fact, we're at, let's see where we're at right now. Now you could say that normalcy is a saturated number. I mean, that's an argument. Right now there are 286 active campaigns on Kickstarter. It's been fluctuating a lot the last few years where the big bumps are. Last year we had a crazy bump at the end of January into February. It went over 300. I've never seen it do that before. Usually we see that in the summertime, summertime, it kind of gets up to 300 and kind of hangs there until the end. But the previous year we had a bump in September, October, November. And then we had a bump in February, March, April. Those were unusual bumps. This year we did get a spring bump, but it wasn't in January, February. It was in March. It did bump over 300, but then it's come back down. It's within norms right now. Now you can say again that 286 active campaigns, that's saturated. But I mean, what do we want? Do we want 50? I mean, you know what I mean? Like what isn't saturated? And ultimately, if you're creating something in that space, in the crowdfunding space, and I'm just talking about Kickstarter now, not any of the other platforms, but if you're in that space, how is that different from the hundreds of comics that come out every month at the retail store? Right? I mean, even Marvel and DC alone will shell out 50 to 100 issues a month of various things. That's a saturated market, especially since there's like 12 Batman books and so on, right? So, so I don't think we're really in any sort of a weird place. And I also don't think, I've been hearing for years how the Kickstarter platform is going to explode. We're going to see 400 campaigns. I was like, I don't see that happening, because Kickstarter is a bitch. It is hard to do. You have to make the comic, which is hard to do. You have to promote the comic, which is hard to do. You have to ship the comic, which is hard to do. And then you got to do it again and again and again and again. So a lot of the people that are on Kickstarter, you'll see them do like one issue and be gone for like a year. And then maybe they come back for another one. It takes people that are really treating it like a business and what they want to do. Those are the guys that you see coming back again and again and again. Whereas you have tons of just, hey, why don't we try and make a comic? And those are like your other 150 random sort of things that are running at any given time.
I don't know how you feel about this, but I think if somebody does 4 or 5 books a year, that's a lot on Kickstarter. I think that's a lot because you just said it's difficult because on every level, I mean, we could go even prior to that. Is that most people have to fund a good part of their book before they even get to the Kickstarter. Hopefully they funded a good part of their book before they got to the Kickstarter level. I don't want to make any assumptions here, but hopefully they got somewhere from 8 to 12 pages, if not the whole book done.
Well, yeah, the one again, those are the ones that want to do it more than the other ones, right? Like you'll see tons of campaigns on there that are making like $400 or $500, maybe $1,000. Those are, but then you look at the campaign and there's really nothing there. It's just people are buying in for the concept of it versus like any sort of like, ooh, that's really cool, right? They're just like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me give you $20. And then, maybe the book gets done, maybe it doesn't. But there's tons of those kinds of campaigns, tons of them. So if you were to filter out like 150 of those campaigns, we'd still have like 130, like sort of next level plus campaigns. That's still a lot. But I don't know. It doesn't bother me because everything that you do in a creative sense is about attracting your audience and guiding your audience to what it is you're doing. Whether it's a Kickstarter, whether it's a Comic-Con, whether it's live shows like this, it's on you to grab an audience, hold on to them, and direct them to where you want them to go. And it doesn't matter if 100 other guys make a campaign at the same time that you do, because your audience should be tuned in on you. So here's Tom, and here's 100 other campaigns. I'm telling them to come right here. Come right here. Come right here. Come right here. Get this book. Get this book. Get this book. Doesn't matter that there's 100 others that are there.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how you feel, but also, somebody wants, somebody's going to find you if they want your book, and also they're going to prioritize where they want to throw their money.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing is like if I'm live and like 5 other people that are similar to me are live, then you could see some dispersion of funds because somebody will want one from every one of these things versus like, okay, I'll buy 5 from you. I'm going to buy 1 from 5 different people. That can happen. Certainly that can happen. But again, that's no different than the comic book store.
But it's also no different than cards. It's no different than from, anything else. I mean, if an action figure comes out.
No different than anything. So the whole point here, the bottom line is make your stuff so good that people want it.
Tessa Blanchard, and she's a wrestler. She says, make yourself undeniable.
Yeah.
And look, there's going to be points where people have to make a choice.
Of course.
In life, I've been in situations where I like 2 people and I just have to choose one over the other. Sure. And it's just that month I just only have $20 and nothing against. But then the next month or 3 months later, both campaigns are live again, and I got 60, and I'm buying both. And that's just life. Because sometimes just money's tight in a particular time, and you got to make a choice.
Of course. And that's just where consistency comes in. If you're consistently making something, you'll consistently be in front of people's eyeballs. And they'll say, oh, look, issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, issue 4. This guy did 5 issues. Wow, that's really cool. Like, let's get in.
There's something to be said about that, too, is that it's easier to get an interview when you have 100 interviews than when you have 1.
Sure.
It's so much easier. And when you have 500 interviews, it's a lot easier to get an interview than when you have 50. And I've learned that in the last 10 years. And I don't think comics are any different. I don't. Or anything for that matter, are any different. But that's just my viewpoint on it. But I would ask you about variance, but I think I know the answer to that because If you want to buy 3,000 variants, all you got to do is call it Marvel. They'll happily do it for you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the only problem with variants is that so many of them are just junk. There's just no art direction. You're just getting these weird things just thrown on, and it's just like, okay, whatever. And then there's the guys that are just like, they're not even trying anymore. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to draw a naked Ahsoka and sell it. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? How is that? How are you not getting destroyed with cease and desist on that stuff? It's mind-boggling to me. And then we have this crazy thought process of AI, right? Artists are like, oh no, AI is going to steal from me. And I'm like, yeah, you're stealing IP right now. You're literally drawing Ahsoka naked. That is not a public domain character. You are selling it for profit. You've just created IP theft, which is what you're complaining that AI is doing. Like, we live in the dumbest timeline, man. It drives me crazy.
Glass houses, right? Don't throw bricks in glass houses.
Yeah. Just it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. And it's gotten worse and worse and worse. It started with cosplay covers. People would put their character in a cosplay. Okay, I'm good with that because there's a modification to it. It's not that it's Rogue. It's that it's this character as Rogue. There's modifications of the costume. It's not an exact thing. But now we're just drawing Rogue and taking her top off and selling it and saying it's cosplay. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. You're just IP mining, and you're IP mining stuff that's not public domain, and that's IP theft. So I better not hear you ever talk about AI theft, or we're going to have a discussion.
I mean, look, I said,
I don't mean you. I'm talking about the artists. Artists are like, hey, AI is like stealing my job. I'm like, yeah, you just stole IP from those guys.
I have a very different viewpoint, and I'm happy to debate anybody on AI. So this is where I have an issue with the whole AI art issue, is I view AI as a collective, right? And there's so much benefit from AI. And in my job, and my day job, I work in accessibility, and AI is making it better, faster, and cheaper to do accessibility. So I have an issue when you start cherry picking AI and the good and the bad, because I can't separate the whole problem. Now, I'm not a fan of stealing per se, but I also think we need to come up with better solutions versus saying, well, I like AI, but I don't like the AI art problem. It's like, it's the whole shebang and the whole thing, and it's a package deal once you introduce AI.
Well, once you introduce it, yeah, but that doesn't mean that one isn't functionally relevant and useful, and one is just purely theft. And the art side of things requires the theft of art for it to work. So that's where that comes in. That's where all that kind of stuff comes in. But I'm also one of these people that says all the time, AI's here. It's not going away. It's not changing. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's irrelevant what your opinion is. Unfortunately, it's irrelevant what your opinion is. People will use it. People are already using it. All you can do really is just choose. Do you want, as a creative, do you want to use AI in any capacity? Yes or no? Your choice. As a fan and a buyer, do you want to buy any AI stuff? Yes or no? And that's it. That's all you can do.
It goes further too, is that it's also the idea is that how do you want to adapt and protect yourself? If you can, and that these are open discussions, right? And so when we go to AI and ethical AI and all that stuff, the question becomes is that how do you protect yourself, or how do you protect your money, or is it that you have to adapt to a changing time, or are you set in your ways? And not you personally, but you know what I mean with this. And these are the discussions that don't happen.
Adaption is everything. Everything is adaption. There was a point in time in our life where a tractor didn't exist and people were doing things by hand. Tractor came, people didn't have to work in the fields anymore. So adaption is everything, right? And in a lot of comic book cases, I don't really see that artists are going to be losing jobs because they can still do the job, right? It's not like, I'm hiring J. Scott Campbell and suddenly AI is here. And I'm like, well, let me use that. I'm like, no, you can still do the job. Do the job for me. So nobody in my circle has been replaced by AI. I have seen people using AI to do like some animation of their art, right? Like they'll do a cover and then they'll have AI make it like, move around and stuff. But that's not being sold. That's just a marketing sort of tool and technique. But people will argue, well, the animators that you would have had to have hired, they lost their job. I mean, okay, that's fair. I see where you're going with that. But that's what I'm saying. It's just it's going to take little steps. I'm already seeing it taking little steps, and eventually people are just going to be like, all right, it's just here.
So I see it differently. So 5 years ago, I work in digital accessibility. AI couldn't write alt text and it couldn't detect good alt text. So now
Sure.
AI within the next year or two in digital accessibility is going to be able to detect alt text, write good alt text, and also determine if it's like a grade 1 or a grade 6 level. And that's not going to put me out of a job. This actually makes my job better, and it actually makes my job faster, which is crazy. And it's not a bad thing because it still needs to be trained. It still needs to be checked. It still needs to be QA'd.
Sure.
But guess what? It just does the job. But guess what? It's not putting anybody out of business or anybody out of work. In fact, it's making it more work for me, per se, in a different capacity. And so I'm adapting. And so that's why I'm such a proponent of AI. But again, it's your choice if you want to use it. It's your choice of how you want to deal with it. It's your choice on how you want to say, cool, what can I do if I'm an artist to make this better and make my job easier or make my skills better? Or maybe I don't want to touch it. Maybe I don't want a part of this. Or it's up to you to figure it out. And how do you use a tool? Because it's only a tool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like the fact that nobody wants to have these conversations because every time I bring this up, it's fuck AI. And it's like, that's not the answer. I'm sorry. The answer is not fuck AI. The answer is AI. I don't like AI, but I need to learn what it is so I can figure out how to either protect myself or how to use it. Or because if I say, hey, I'm pro AI everything, people are going to defriend me on Facebook. And how does that help the solution? It doesn't.
Nope. Then there's the environmental part of it too. It takes tons and tons of water and stuff to run these machines, and there's an environmental impact to all this not just AI, technology in general. There's an environmental impact to all of it. But again, no one's stopping it. I mean, look at the lithium mines that we have to deal with, right? Like that's slave labor happening for these lithium mines so that we get our batteries. But that's not stopping. If that's not stopping, AI is not stopping. So, figure out your part in it or ignore it. If you want to ignore it, you're welcome to ignore it. But figure out your part in it and what it can or can't do for you. And then that's it. That's it. I'm unbothered by it. I understand why people are bothered by it, but I kind of just come at it from that angle of like, well, the barn door's open. It's not going to be closed.
I am not bothered enough. No, again, I like having these discussions because I like the fact and I like talking about this because I have a viewpoint and, my position is clear and convince me otherwise, everybody.
It's fine to be wrong. You can be wrong. It's fine. It's fine. You can be wrong.
All I know is that I had a very scary AI moment, and it was good though. My friend has a Tesla, and he decided to test out the self-driving AI.
Yeah, machine. That's all moron shit right there. That's the worst. The worst idea on the planet is self-driving cars when not all cars are self-driving. Holy God.
You didn't let me finish the other part of the story here.
It's all bad. It's all bad. I know it's bad.
It is bad. I'm still alive, so it's not all bad. So my friend decided to test his self-driving Tesla update merging onto the GW bridge. So I said to my friend, and I quote, I said, I hope your car doesn't take a left turn because on the left side was the water, right? Because if it does, and we go over this bridge, my parents are going to kill us both. But before they do, they're going to revive us so they could kill us both again. Luckily, his car did a good job, and we made it safely across the GW bridge before the self-driving module decided to turn off.
Yeah. Listen, if you're in a car, you're driving the fucking car. That's it. That should be just the law. Just put that in the amendments in the Constitution. You're not getting in the car. If you don't want to drive a car, you get an Uber, you get a taxi, you get a limo. I'm okay with that. If you're getting in a car and going, "Hey, car, take me to where I'm going," and you're sitting in like just not even paying attention, like no, that's the worst idea. The worst idea.
That's my Tesla AI machine learning. Is my friend decided that it would be a good idea to let his car merge onto the GW bridge.
Yeah, no, never. I will never be in one of those cars. Terrible. I did see one. There was one. Where the hell was coming back from? From Texas somewhere. And I was driving around, and there was a car up there, and it had like lettering or something on the sides, and I was like, "What does that say?" And I kind of sped up to see what it said, and it started to say something about like pick up and drop off or whatever, and I'm like, I don't understand. And then I realized that I was looking into the car, and there was nobody in it. Nobody was driving. There was no passenger. There was nothing. It was just cruising down the road. And somebody told me, yeah, these things are out there. They go and pick people up, like people that have a hard time getting to the hospital or whatever, right? It'll come and pick them up, and it'll take them. Damn, this thing is literally just like Herbie Goes Bananas out here on the highway. This is so weird. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that it was just not even a passenger in it, like just going. It was super weird.
The weirdest thing I saw in DC was a self-driving robot cooler.
Okay.
That was weird, where basically what it is that it's a self-delivering robot cooler. So it's like a motor on like an ice tray, cooler bin, whatever you want to call it, like a big one. And then it's like waiting right next to a person, and then it crosses the street. And you're like, that's it. I'm like, what the fuck's that? The guy's like, oh yeah, they're around this neighborhood. They're just like self-driving. Somebody orders their groceries, it's packed in there, and then it just drives, and then it waits for like the crosswalk to go, and it's just moseying on down, and then it turns and it goes to the next one, and then it's crossing again. It's great. And I was like, that's so weird, but so cool. From a technology standpoint, I'm like, I'm fascinated.
Yeah, but we're not that far away from that thing getting a gun and shooting you. Like, this is literally what's happening, or poisoning your food, or like, it's out there. Did you see the video of the robot that started fighting back against its whoever was its handlers? It went crazy and just started throwing punches.
I did not see this. Do
yourself a favor. You'll find it. It was crazy. I didn't even know what I was looking at for a minute, and then I realized like this robot went batshit and just started throwing punches. So yeah.
Is that your next comic? No.
I don't like sci-fi like that as much anymore. I think I've just seen too much of it. I'm just kind of burned out on the whole like robot thing. Like I just watched this movie Subservience or something with Megan Fox about robot people in the homes. And I was like, this is fucking boring. Like nobody has anything to say about this stuff anymore. And I thought it did for just a second. I was watching this going, oh, this is going to be interesting. And then it completely went a polar opposite way that I was thinking. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. This just became Terminator and Megan and all these things. It was so dumb. So all this robot stuff, like, oh, we have robots in the home. Like I'm so just over it now. And the fact that it's actually becoming real, robots are getting more and more and more and more. It's just like, I don't want any part of this. I mean, the fact that we have Google Homes where Google is like plugged into your house and shit. I'm like, what are we doing? There's movies that tell us why all this is a bad idea. We've seen this for decades upon decades.
I can tell you the book that scared the shit out of me. It was about robots, Robocalypse. That book was a fucking scary book, but not scary in the sense that basically it's a robot and they're testing this whole AI shit. And then before the robot can really take over, they shut it down. But number 27 escaped. And now all of a sudden, number 27 is hacked in and it's moving around and it's trying to crash two planes into each other. And it's these small things and it's escalating and
Yeah.
escalating and escalating. And it's trying to exterminate humanity. And then what happens is that it's the whole history of this told by a guy of them beating back the robot over like 10 years, right? But what it is that is this idea where it hacks the like air traffic controls, and then luckily the pilots are in there and they maneuvered out both planes. But like you're like, oh shit, like this is not so ridiculous because what would it be
No,
that?
not at all.
I
And we
mean,
keep trying to input more and more AI into all of it. So it's all a bad idea. Like the last
great
robot
book.
that I really liked was Ultron, because Ultron woke up and went on the internet for 5 minutes and decided that humanity needed to die. I was like, I understand you, Ultron. I understand your journey. Yeah.
But book was great. Fantastic book. I thought the message was great. I loved every second of it. Read the sequel. The sequel is not as good, but it was fun because it's a humanity fighting back. But it's also like the message I got out of it is saying, wait a second, like it's not going to take that much for this shit to do it.
No, not at all.
But I'm still pro AI. I'm still pro AI. I will be a robot.
I will never have a Google Home. I'll never have a Google Home.
But you will have
friends of mine have that. They have all that stuff like hooked up, all their lights and everything. Everything's hooked up. They just sit there and talk about, hey, Google, turn the TV on. Hey, Google, turn, do this. I'm just like, just pick up the remote, dude. Like, what are you doing? Just pick up the remote. Push power.
Do you have an
Alexa? I'm way too analog. I am just way too analog. And again, I'm Gen X. I have gone through all of this technology upgrades, and I am just too analog. I just want to pick up the remote control. I want to pick up a paper copy of my comic books. I don't want digital comics. Like, I am just an analog guy. I want the stuff.
I'll ask you this. Do you have a problem with like the Xfinity talking into your remote?
The what?
So on my Xfinity remote, I could talk into my remote and then I could say, hey, go to.
Oh, we don't have that. We don't have anything like that.
So you see, I love that because that's awesome. That to me is perfect. But like, I don't want to say to Alexa, turn on my TV, right? Like, I don't want to do that. But I like being able to just use voice controls on my remote because it just makes it so much easier. Like, to me, that's a great use of technology because instead of me having to be like channel 32, right?
That's lazy millennial. That's lazy millennial. That's all that is. Technology creates laziness. That's lazy millennial. Push a button, Andrew. Push a button. Up, 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 down, 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 left, left, right, right. BA start. Analog. Push the buttons.
I'm too lazy. I like the fact that I could just say it into my remote and it does it for me. It makes my life so much easier because sometimes I'm like, sports, what sports are on? And it pulls all that up. It's so much easier because I'm so just not in the mood to look for things. But I will say the best thing I've ever bought is my iPad. That is the greatest invention ever.
Yeah, my iPad is dead. It's right on the verge of actual real death. It's a 2, not a 2 Air, not a 2 Pro. It is a 2. It is ancient and has been through the wars. But now it won't. It doesn't. The operating system hasn't updated for like 3 years. Netflix now will not run on it anymore. The app will not run on it anymore. The browser is so far behind modern internet websites, it won't load websites anymore. So basically, it just plays, music and my whatever movies and stuff I have on it. That's all it does now. So I have to get don't want to get another one, but I have to get another one.
I get it. But obviously we know Tom is ready to fight the robots.
With my iPad too. It's already got a cracked screen, so it's fine. I don't have to worry about it.
They might fear it. Ancient technology.
Look what I did to one of you. It's all cracked up and mashed. Like, oh my God, what did he do to that thing?
But obviously there's all that. Now that we've learned a lot about me, we've learned a lot about you today. I know exactly what I'm getting Tom for his birthday, a Google Nest.
I don't even know what that is. Anything with Google. I don't even like Google Drive. Like artists use like Google Drive. I'm like, this is terrible, guys. Just use Dropbox like the rest of us. Stop using this shit. So anything with Google goes in the trash. Right in the trash. It's like that guy, straight to jail, straight in the trash. Straight in the trash.
Terrible. That's terrible.
Don't want it. Don't want it.
Oh man, I love Google. I love Meta. I love Amazon. I'm way too teched up. Like I'm terrible. Like I'm like a ghost in the shell kid. Like that's exactly what I am. It's terrible.
All of my friends were always into computer stuff when it was happening, and I did not care. I did not care. I remember a friend of mine was when eBay started. Not when it started. When it started, it was more for like Beanie Babies. But once it expanded to be like a real marketplace, he was all about it. I was like, dude, what are you talking about eBay? What the fuck is eBay? I didn't even know what the internet was really at the time. So I've always been out of the loop from from this kind of stuff. Like I've always known how to do like home theater and stuff. Like I can set up your home theater, your speakers and your receivers and all that kind of stuff. But from like a computer and an internet standpoint, I've always been way behind because I just don't care. It just doesn't, there's no attraction to it for me.
I love it. I love tech. I love adaptation. I love things that make my life better. And I'll be honest, I'll disclose something. I have a physical disability. So technology, in my opinion, makes my life better, makes it so that things work better and that I have more freedom than I've ever had. I live in an
That's fair. That's very fair. Yeah.
I work 4 days from home and I'm productive at my job, and I work in digital accessibility and all digital stuff and making it accessible. Right. So like I'm in the exact place I want to be. And if COVID didn't happen, I would be required to be in my job 5 days a week, and it would suck because I am so much more productive and my life is so much better.
You could get a car to drive you in. You don't have to do anything. Sit in this. Oh, look, I'm getting driven into work in my car.
So the point that I'm making though is that like that's why I'm so plugged into technology, because all this stuff makes my life better, and it makes it so that it's cheaper. I can get services. Like it is just as expensive for me to order my groceries as it is for me to go to the store and do it myself. Like, and stuff like DoorDash and stuff like all this other stuff. It's legitly.
I never do any of that. I never.
You never get anything from DoorDash?
Never. I did it. The only time that I ever did it is because somebody I was with did it. I was with Nia Rufino. It was the first time she did it. She was like, I'm hungry. I want to get something. I don't remember what the hell we got. Something happened to be open. Maybe it was Chinese or something. I don't know. And she did it. I was like, everything's cold. She's like, yeah, it happens. I was like, this is terrible. This is a terrible service. What are we talking about here? So no. Plus, I just don't want people handling my food. It's bad enough someone's like at the restaurant handling the food because you don't know what they're doing. But to put it in a car, the dude gets pissed off. He's like, fuck these guys, spitting his food. Like, no, never. So
oh man. So
never.
Like, you get nervous that somebody's gonna spit in your food at a restaurant?
No, but they can. Well, but it's more likely that some dude that has your food sitting in his chair next to him in his car, has a bad day or doesn't like the way that you didn't send a tip or something, and he loses his mind, and just like I don't need middlemen with my food. Like I'm good. I'm perfectly happy to go outside and just be like, I'll just go to McDonald's and be fine.
Okay then. I mean, look, it's I'll go to Starbucks and I'll get what I want, but like sometimes it's just like I just want to order something in. I'm tired and I'm lazy and it's like mucky out.
You just said it. You just said it. Say it again.
Mucky?
No, before that.
Starbucks?
In between that.
Lazy?
Yes. There it is.
I don't know what
millennials. That's the millennials right there. Millennials and the Gen Z, they're so freaking lazy.
I'm not lazy in the sense that I work hard at my job. I am lazy when it comes to mundane things, right? So like,
sure, yeah.
That's to get my food
Yes.
in which that is a meaningless task that will take 30 minutes for me, and it's not worth the extra
But what are
$3.
you doing at home for 30 minutes while they're bringing you the food? What are you accomplishing in that 30 minutes besides watching another anime episode?
Exactly. I have quotas to meet, and it is not easy to do this job, Tom. It is not easy. You think this anime is going to watch itself? I don't think so.
All right.
This
So
is
we
a
got to the bottom of it. We got to the bottom of it. You saved 30 minutes so that you can watch one more episode. Okay. All right.
It's worth
I can even accept that. To me, that's a rational thought process.
or sometimes I'm working and I order food so that it's just there. Or sometimes I'm getting hammered, depending on the day.
I just have food in the house if I'm working at home.
I have food in my house too, but
So then you don't need DoorDash then.
But also like I order my groceries from like Stop.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah. Sure. That I understand far more than like somebody bring me Taco Bell because I want tacos. That I completely more understand. Yeah.
Because and it's just this cheap. And also I used to live in DC, and I used to live in an apartment, and what it was is that it's just such like the closest supermarket is like 3 metro stops away, and it just becomes a fucking nightmare because it's like now you gotta get all this shit, then you gotta get back to the metro. It's such a fucking pain in the ass. When you live in a city, it's just easier in that.
Oh, you got to stop living in cities. I tell people that you got to stop living in cities. That's the worst.
I don't live in a city anymore.
This is the worst idea, is living in a city. Holy shit. And I realize that that's like where the jobs are and stuff. And
what it was is that I was in DC, and I was getting my master's. And so it's like I'm a student and I'm working in DC at the same time. So it's kind of like, if you're doing 2 or 3 things and you need to be somewhere, well, there you go. But I enjoyed being in DC a lot. I really did. But
the city is why I don't do New York Comic Con anymore. Like, I don't want to be in that city ever again.
I don't want to be there either.
Cities, man, they're just the worst. The exception I think for me would be Seattle. I've always enjoyed Seattle. I've never had a problem with Seattle. It's worked. It's functional, oddly enough, because it's a really tight kind of quarters. But Seattle has always been one of those sort of big town with cities that I'm like, this is all right. This one works, but it's so far away. That's the only reason I don't go to Emerald City anymore. It's because it's just so far away.
My whole thing is that I don't like New York Comic Con because I don't like the Javits Center. The Javits Center is not a good convention center.
Well, I haven't been there since they've done all the renovations.
Fair enough. But I haven't been there either since they've done it. But I've had like 2 bad experiences there, and I'm just like, I don't feel like giving them a third chance. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. The con itself is great. Like the people, once you're inside, like, this is a good fucking con, man. People come to this con, but you got to deal with so much to get into it. It's not great.
But like I loved when I was in Awesome Con, because Awesome Con, it's a huge convention center, but it's also spacious, like in the aisles, and that's just such a luxury. And I know it sounds weird, but when you can actually, like, you don't feel like a sardine, it's so wonderful. And it's also just like easier just to navigate because there's just more room. Like, I feel New York Comic Con to me was just tight the 2 times I went.
But that's because they have fucking 200,000 people show up. They have good aisles there, but there's only so much they can do without just widening aisles and eliminating booths, to make wider aisles. So that's the difference there. Awesome Con is going to be a tremendously smaller show than San Diego. Like, San Diego has the same problem. San Diego, it's easier to go, like, let's say you're on one end of the convention center and you want to get to the other. It's easier to go out, over, and back in than to try and get through and go straight through San Diego Comic-Con. It's a nightmare to deal with that. So yeah, you gotta learn all the little tricks to get through some of those places. Yeah,
but New York is I don't think there's any shortcuts in New York.
No, well, at least not when I was there last. No, because it's all just inside. It's just you're in and you're in. Yeah, there's not much you can do. I'm curious as to what it looks like now, but I'm not gonna worry about it.
it's not for me. There are better places to go. There are more. Again. I just didn't have a good time, and it's just not a good fit for me. Like Awesome Con was a good fit for me. Like Anime Boston was a good fit for me. Like Anime USA was a good fit for me. I was just at something in Hartford that was a good fit for me. Like just like I don't lose much by not going to New York Comic Con, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. No, same way. Same way.
So it's just, and also it's just like the amount of money and all that stuff. Like it just, I could have the exact. I lose what, like 5%. That's nothing. That's minuscule to me, because there might be only one guest who I want to meet and do something with, and or like there might be a bunch more people signing comic stuff. But great. So if I get 95% of it and I don't torture myself, awesome. That's my that I mean, but that's life, right? That's trade offs. But
Sure.
anyway, obviously, I do want to give you a chance to promote yourself. So you got a lot going on with Big Dog Inc. Obviously, this year has started off and it's ramping up now.
Yeah.
So obviously, where can people find you? What's on the docket? Where can people find the Kickstarter? All that good stuff. Because
Yeah.
obviously,
So we got whatever it is, five days left. Looks like we got 5 days left. 5 days left on the current campaign. We're going to launch Penny for Your Soul for our 15-year anniversary, like late June, like third weekend of June is I think the plan right now. I'm going to be at Motor City Comic Con in 2 weeks, Traverse City up North Michigan the week after that. Then 2 weeks after that, I'm in New York for Oztravaganza. I'll be there with Nia Rufino. And then we'll kind of have July and August off. And then we'll be doing some more shows in September and October, including a huge show in October. Third week of October is Big Texas Comic Con, and they are rolling out the red carpet for us. They are bringing 8 BDI people down there. Myself, Nia Rufino, Asher B. Oh my God, who else? Ryan Kincaid. Keith Garvey is going to be there. So they're bringing a ton of us down there for Big Texas Comic Con to celebrate the 15-year anniversary, which is going to be amazing. So, and then in October, we'll have our final Kickstarter campaign of the year as well. So yeah, there's a lot still to do, even though we kind of had to push it all back a little bit.
crazy, but that's good though. That's good that it's rolling down and you got this figured out. And obviously, I've been saying it a while, is that you got to back people's campaigns. You got to support people, what they're doing in their books. If you like what you see, you should obviously like it, back it, support it, back the Kickstarter, all that stuff. But even going beyond that, and let's say that you have a store, I think, right?
A store. Well, we have the web store. Yeah, BigDogInc.com is the web store. Yep, absolutely. You can get trade paperbacks, back issues, all that kind of stuff there. Yep.
So that's another place you should check out. And then obviously there's some other stuff too. I think you got a Patreon. Are you still doing that?
We do Patreon. Yep. We've got like 40 some people on Patreon, patreon.com/BigDogInc. And if you are a backer for our campaigns and a Patreon member at any level, you get what's called Patreon perks as a bonus. In the past, they've been like original art sketch cards, metal trading cards, sometimes comics that are exclusive to the Patreon folks. So there are bonuses to being a patron and a backer to our Kickstarters.
So that's all that. And then obviously, following people is also helpful. And then as far as I'm concerned, everything that I do, obviously for those who are interested in what I do, because it's my show, I'm going to promote myself. I run obviously this YouTube show. So please subscribe if you are not watching on YouTube at Pop Anime Comics. You can check me out there. But furthermore, you can follow me on Twitter /X at Pop Anime Comics, Instagram Pop Anime Comics, Facebook is Pop Anime Comics, and I do run a little eBay store. So please look for comics and collectibles. Come shop with us on eBay. And I know how many people love when I do this, but obviously I have cards like this in my store, which are pretty cool. I have stuff like this, which are base relics, where they put a base in a card, which is always fun and really cool. I carry a lot of WNBA stuff, so I got these up right now. These are super, super expensive in my store at the moment. And then obviously the Cavs are playing right now. So I do have an Evan Mosley 101 out there, Defensive Player of the Year. So that's a good one. And I got some Jalen Brunson stuff up there right now. So I carry a lot of stuff. And a lot of this stuff sells out really quickly. on Panini's website. So when it does sell out, and luckily I get it. So if you're looking for that type of stuff, everybody, I got you covered. And I try to be as reasonable as I possibly can with all that stuff. So just throwing it out there. If you're looking for some rare cards, some cool comics, and some other stuff, please check out my eBay store. And again, if I don't have it in my store, ask me because I may have it. And if I don't have it, if you ask me, there's a good chance I know somebody who does have what you're looking for. And I'm more than happy to steer you in the right direction because I get that you guys just want to complete your collection. So that's something that I do. Again, that's Pop Anime Comics. Just type it in on Google. You'll find me. Type it in on eBay. You'll find me. All that good stuff. And that's everything that I got. And on that note, I'm going to give you the final word.
Well, no, just like you said, get out, support. Like we talked about the whole show is creativity is out there. There's a ton of people that are wildly creative and doing awesome things. So the more you support creativity, the less AI gets involved in it. And that's good for everybody.
And I don't think I could have said that any better myself, everybody. And that is a wrap.